I'm putting my phone on. Oh, shit. It's trying to transfer music to my HomePod.
No worries, no worries. So today I wanted to talk about conspiracies in 2020, just because it's been really interesting in terms of the 5G towers that caused COVID, vaccine conspiracies, and also you guys probably seen Joe Rogan talking about aliens, and apparently we should have more information towards summer of this year in relation to if aliens exist, what sort of contacts human beings have had with aliens. So I'm going to leave that juicy one towards the end and just talk about a bit more mundane conspiracies. So when we started the pandemic last year, start of lockdowns, people coming across and saying, "Oh, 5G towers cause COVID," and I just want you guys to think back to, I think it was like March, and specifically Birmingham, the city that we're from, where people were saying, "Oh my God, this is where COVID comes from. The towers, we must burn it down," and people burn down towers. So, Aaron, let me know what did you think of that when you heard that our great city was the source of this conspiracy?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was just a bit insane, really. And you see the, I suppose, and you see the videos and stuff on Instagram, on Twitter, these 5G towers on fire. You just think that's just so stupid that people thought that this virus started because of 5G. I mean, when you think about it, it just doesn't make any sense to me. And yeah, it's crazy that people actually believe that it was true. But I suppose once people get stuck in, I don't know, maybe they go into YouTube and they get stuck in watching constant YouTube videos on how it started and different theories about it. They just end up believing anything really. But yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was crazy that actually happened.
What do you think, Bobs, in terms of 5G causing COVID?
People spend too much time on Facebook and sending those WhatsApp stories. Honestly, I think it's fair enough to have genuine concerns about 5G and the health implications of that. And I think they have done testing where one of the towers is facing. There's trees facing the 5G tower, and the side of the tree that's facing the tower rots and decays faster than the other side that isn't. But I'm not a reliable source on that. So
is that a real thing?
I think so. Like I say, I'm not a reliable source on that. I might be wrong, but I've seen something about it.
Because I haven't heard of this. Imagine I'm just a person who's just hearing you for the first time. So walk me through what's happened in that experiment, or what's happened with that tree. That sounds mad.
I think it was just rotting, decaying. From the side that was facing the tower was facing more rot and decay. Whether that's just an odd anomaly thing or actually to be worried about. But yeah, just I don't know, conspiracy about a 5G tower giving you a virus. It's just I think people have too much time on their hands.
Well, okay,
fair enough. You believe in what you believe in, but come on, apply a bit of common sense.
Yeah, but okay, let's play devil's advocate for a second. Let's humor the idea for a second. How would you get to the conclusion that 5G towers cause COVID? Would you just assume? I mean, if I was going to play, let's say I'm less educated, or I made that jump in conclusion.
Yeah.
During the pandemic, especially around my area, I saw these towers going up, and I thought, okay, that's a bit weird that they haven't informed us what these towers are, and they're just going up. And then I suppose I could draw the conclusion that, boom, the towers are going up, the cases of COVID are sort of rising as well. So I could see how people make a correlation, but I don't know. It's a bit of a strong one, a bit of a sticky one, to be fair. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, because people fear what they don't know. Quite Batman there. Yeah, people fear what they don't know and what they don't understand. So I think the education on 5G probably should be better. Explaining what it is, how it works, so people aren't as afraid and not as suspectable of it. So I think it just comes down to educating people about how it works.
Do you think it also comes down to our governments and our local councils? Because again, you said they should educate us on 5G, but they should also tell people what's going on so they don't jump to conspiracies. Because conspiracies are just lack of information, isn't it? So if it isn't clear, especially from an authority sort of source, you're going to assume the worst. Well, you're not going to assume that. I wouldn't assume, oh my God, these towers cause 5G, but I would assume something's going on. It might be a case of they're watching us like Big Brother. It might be a case of internet or something like that. But
no, that's true. And like, I was gonna say, I suppose people start coming up with all kinds of conspiracies because it wasn't really known for a fact what really caused it. I mean, people are saying, even now, people are saying it was caused by one of these food markets in China. Other people are saying it leaked out from a lab in in the actual city in Wuhan. So yeah, I suppose people just don't really know what to believe and how it started and what really caused it.
So do you actually think that the virus came from a fish market or food market in China, or do you think it was man-made and then just released into the lab, into the world? What do you think?
To be honest, I've got no idea. I'm not too sure. Yeah, I really don't know how it started, to be honest.
Well, how would you think in terms of in terms of this virus? It's kind of weird. It's mutated a few times already around the world. Virus in London, or I suppose in Kent, mutated as well, which can cause conspiracies because most people don't know that viruses mutate as quickly. I think the COVID strain viruses mutate ridiculously fast as well. Again, not here to spread misinformation, just trying to understand the conspiracy behind it. But Amir, where in relation to the 5G towers, right? Can you draw us a quick link of how people would assume 5G towers caused COVID? Like, where would this conspiracy come from? Because it came from Birmingham, so we're all from Birmingham, so we should know where this conspiracy came from. So, explain to me how COVID came from 5G towers, please.
I literally have no clue how people could link the two together. Honestly, like, I don't know. Maybe we don't know the full story either. But I'm pretty sure the virus did not come from 5G towers. But it just sounds funny, doesn't it? You know what I mean? So if it did come from 5G towers, like, why? What's the purpose behind them? To control the population. They pretty much have got control over the population currently, anyway. So I don't know. Maybe there is a sinister plot. Who knows? All I do know is COVID's real. 5G towers is real. I don't think they're linked together.
Well,
to be honest,
you just said something really interesting. 5G towers I might misheard you. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but you just said the 5G towers conspiracy might be to control the population. Can you explain on that? Like,
I don't know. Just like from past whatever people say, really. Just there's so many conspiracy theories out there. Like, for example, the vaccine is a tracing program for to monitor everybody. I don't know. Doubt it.
I think your hand might be covering your mic.
Might be.
Yeah, it's a bit muffled.
So
can you hear me now?
Yeah,
I can hear you. Can hear you better now. Yeah.
So wait, you're saying track and trace might be a way of tracking people?
No, not necessarily. I mean, track and trace is a way of tracking people because that's what it's called. There's no hiding behind that one. But it's more or less tracking. It's just about seeing who's got the flipping virus and what sort of threat are they, like, where are they going, how many people have they come into contact with. They're just trying to get a hold of the carriers, really, which is fine. But
okay, well, let me stir the pot a little bit because I think it's quite interesting, right? So Apple and Google offered to make the app for the government, and they said, okay, we can build you a track and trace app. However, once it's built and once the virus is done, we need you to delete the data of the users of this app so that the government can't track them. And the government declined Apple and Google's offer. So Apple and Google are trying to be the good guys and say, you can build this track and trace app so you can track people. But once the virus is done, get rid of it. So, you're not watching people and tracking people across the country. And the government said, no, we don't want to do that, and we'll go in a different direction. So they spent like £1 billion on an app that does not work. So do you feel like the government wants this data for other purposes other than tracking and tracing people?
I think they wouldn't want to bin the whole program that they've just spent so much money on. I think what they're trying to do is try and utilize that app in other ways that would, help the society out more. Maybe, I don't know, maybe to try and reduce crime rates, maybe to do, I don't know, like if you knew where everybody was, it would be a hell of a lot easier to catch criminals.
Your hand.
If you knew where everybody, their locations, as rubbish of a society that would be, it would be, I would say it would be a lot less crime in that society. The crime rates would be down.
I mean, I do agree.
The whole point of them collating all that data, the thing with, we'll come on to the vaccine later on, but people are worried that they're injecting microchips into your bloodstream so they can track you and find your location out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think the simple retort to that is that you carry on your person 24/7 your mobile phone, and that tracks every single little thing you do. And you might not consciously think about it, but we could be talking about something right now, something we might want to get or something, and then literally an hour later we'll see an ad on it on Instagram or Twitter or something. So you're already being tracked constantly. So I don't care, inject me with the vaccine or make me, give me some level of immunity. But just on collating all that information, it's interesting because you can probably end up in a Big Brother sort of state, and we currently are living in a bit of a Big Brother sort of state because of being in lockdown and being under all these restrictions, where we're being monitored. So it is a level of, checking how people do conform to stricter regulations. And the one thing we have noticed is we're moving even further along now to a more technology-based society. So cash transactions are down. We're doing more contactless transactions. So more money now is being tracked. We're seeing sources of incomes, where that money's coming from, where that money's going. So for tax as well, that's a big, huge thing. So you can't money launder as much as you probably could have before. So yeah, it's a lot more. It's coming a bit more robotic in a sense.
Do you think that's where blockchain technology comes in? Because with the ledger, you can tell who's spending what and where, and it's sort of like verified. So do you feel like that technology goes hand in hand with what they're trying to do and track everyone's movements in terms of payments and track everyone's data? And it's kind of scary, isn't it? It's the world we're moving in.
Yeah, because they want to see your shopping habits, what you're buying, what you're selling, where your money's going, how much money do you actually have, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's like I say, it's becoming more of a Big Brother sort of thing. So it'd be interesting to see how that develops over the next couple of years, because I rarely carry cash with me. I haven't done anyway for the past year or two. I just carry my cards around. But I think
it's safer in a card.
Yeah, it's just it's less hassle. Taking out £10 just to break it for something.
100.
But I think people who didn't used to carry a lot of cash around with them probably haven't been doing so as much the past year because of COVID. because people are now making all those contactless transactions, buying stuff online, so they're having to use their cards more. So all those payments are being tracked.
Yeah, but do you see that as a problem? If we move to a cashless society, do you see that as a problem, or do you think it's a good thing?
No, I don't see it as a problem. I'm looking at it from a perspective of the reasoning of why the government would see that as beneficial. Because it comes down to tax. Because say if you're a self-employed person, or you don't get paid a monthly wage, everything you're spending then is being tracked. So the government can look at when you fill out your tax return, and you fill out your expenses, etc. It's all recorded now from your bank statements. Instead of you declaring all the money you have, or not declaring all the money you have, you're keeping a bit of cash to the side, tax avoidance. Instead, now you're probably having to pay a bit more tax because you're declaring more money.
Or you're earning less if you were declaring less tax in the first place.
Yeah.
I think in terms of what this lockdown has done, in a way, I think in terms of government, I think it's provided more pros for the government than cons, because it's almost like they've had everything go their way during this whole year. So lockdown, it's almost like, if anybody was looking at it from an outside point of view, there's 100%. I agree with people to question it. You know what I mean? Like, maybe the government is doing this, maybe not. But it's all about questioning it. If the government was doing it, who knows? That's their end goal, isn't it? But my point is, you have to trust them. Because we live in their country. They run it. You know what I mean? Like, in the bigger picture, we're insignificant. In the longer picture. That's my belief anyway.
So, Aaron, I just wanted to bring you in on this. Based on what Amir just said, you got to trust the government. That's what he's saying. Do you, heart of heart, trust the government? They have your best interests at heart. Is that what you believe?
Yeah. I'm not too sure. I mean, it's quite hard to. I suppose it is hard to trust them the way, just because it seems like they don't really know what they're really doing. I guess. I mean, I suppose since the virus started, you look at the way they've handled things, and it seems like that everyone says the thing that they say one thing, and then the next minute they change their mind, and then they do it. You turn. Most recent example, I suppose, is last week by saying that schools and stuff are safe. There's no issues there. Then on the Monday, everyone goes in. Chance of kids mixing with each other, passing the virus around or something. And then Monday evening, they wait till eight in the evening to say, oh, actually, it's not safe anymore, and schools are going to be closed. And I don't know. And also, now they've just introduced this thing where if you're coming into the UK, you need to show that you've had a negative coronavirus test. Think, why did that not happen sooner? So I don't know. It's a bit hard to trust them because it seems like they aren't 100% sure what they're doing, and there's been so much stuff that's happened the past year where you sort of question, are they making the right choices and all of that stuff.
So do you think that, Bops, do you feel like that plays into the virus and why a lot of people online are saying that they're not confident enough to take it, or the government's trying to do something, or it's a bit too soon to have a vaccine? Do you feel like that plays into the vaccine for the virus?
Well, just to follow on what Aaron was saying about the government's reaction times, they have been really reactionary in everything they've done. They haven't been proactive in their measures, and I think that's what's ultimately cost them. And the whole trust thing, part of it depends on your political alignment, where you stand politically, the Conservative Party and Labour Party and whatnot. So there's that, which will always give you a bias. And then you look at the private contracts they've given for PPE and the track and trace apps and whatnot. So you'd like to think the level of trust in them is a bit lower, but the polling would say otherwise.
100%. I actually agree. I believe the government could have done a way better job than they have.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like being on a bus with a driver you don't completely trust, but he's driving your bus, and you just gotta trust that he's gonna take you where you're going.
Just along with the ride. Yeah. I know, that's
exactly.
the thing. But what did you ask again, Elijah? The vaccine.
If you think the lack of trust is down, will add into people not taking the vaccine, and what do you think plays into it?
There is a bit of that. I think a lot of people are like, it's been a year how quickly the turnaround's been for getting a vaccine and rolling it out. People have said, in the past it's taken like 5 years, 10 years, etc. to get a vaccine ready. But I think this one's unique in that it's been a worldwide pandemic. Every top medical facilities been researching into this, pouring millions and millions of pounds. It's such a top priority that I think a fast turnaround was kind of inevitable. They've got 4 or 5 multiple corporations working on this, so I think it was inevitable. The funding for it's been really substantial as well. So I think they're all contributing factors for it turning around so quick. And but I saw something a couple of weeks back. The Pfizer one. Once that got approved, the CEOs started selling his stock, and people are like, "Oh, look at this! He's had his vaccine approved. Now he's selling his stock because he's made all this money off it." Blah blah blah. And I just watched a quick little video on it, and some guy broke it down. He was like, "You need to understand how the stock market works." He has like a minimum threshold or a point at which his stocks rise to, and once it hits that point, they automatically get sold. So that was out of his control anyway. But people
just to play devil's advocate on that point, that specific point.
Yeah.
His company announced exactly the same time his stocks came to be sold, because when you go public, you have to wait 6 months before the CEO can actually vest out. However, same week or the same day that his stocks became vestable, or you can get your money out from the stocks, is when they announced the vaccine. Kind of suspicious. I mean, if I want to sell my share at the highest point, I'm going to announce there's a vaccine. You know what I mean? So
yeah. No, but when it got approved, announcing it was one thing, but when it got approved, that's when his stock went even further, and he was obliged to sell his stocks at that point because he hit a certain threshold. But there's stuff like that. People saying, "Oh, he's selling his stock." That's what's caused the mistrust and the uncertainty around the vaccine. I've spoken to plenty of people who said, "Oh, I'm going to wait 2-3 years to see what the long-term effects are." So that's fair enough. You're entitled to do that.
I don't know if you've seen a video of that Jamaican politician. He said, "We'll wait for America and Britain to take the vaccine."
I've seen that. Yeah,
and take it. I'll probably give my spin on it. So I know the Black community largely is uncertain, and they're doing massive pushes to get the Black community to take this vaccine. The reason why we're uncertain is, in the past, in America specifically, in the UK as well, they've tricked us. So every time we've taken a vaccine, they've given us something else. So for example, in America, they was treating people with they gave them a vaccine, but in fact gave them syphilis. And so they wanted to test the syphilis on the group of Black people who took the vaccine to see how effective the treatment of syphilis was for the general population. And they eventually, I think the study went on for about 10 years, and they said, "Oh, we'll treat it like this, we'll treat it like this." They came up with a cure. So they gave them syphilis, they came up with a cure for syphilis, and then they still experimented on them for the next couple years without giving them a cure. So they gave them syphilis, found a cure for it, and then they didn't give the people they was testing the vaccine on. So there's a lot of mistrust in the community, especially with there's another case. This lady, she developed a special kind of cancer. Her cells, the cells that she had, mutated. So every couple of days, the cells would mutate and multiply. And so what they did, they took a lining of her sow, and then they kept the sow and used it in treatments for millions of different illnesses and diseases relating to cancer. And they didn't pay the lady for her sows. So they basically stole her sows and then found a lot of cures, not cures, but treatments for different issues and symptoms. Didn't pay the family. The lady died. It was like in the 1930s. And those companies have made billions off her cells because her cells naturally mutated, benefited a whole of humanity, but didn't benefit her or the family. So especially the Black community, we've been tricked by this government how many times, which is why a lot of us feel like we're going to wait. Again, it's not to benefit us, but we're going to wait until the vaccine has proven to be effective. Because I think it was last year in Paris or in France, they said, oh, let's test it on some Africans, the vaccine, to see if it works or not. And this was recent, this is 2020. So people in France were saying, oh, let's go to Africa, let's grab some Africans, let's test this vaccine, see if it works, see if it's effective. So I can understand from the Black community where the distrust comes from. And I myself personally, my mom works as a biomedical scientist. I believe the science. I will follow the vaccine, but I will not be the first person signing up for the vaccine. I'm going to let other people take it, make sure it works, then take it myself, because I don't think you can sue the government if it goes wrong, if you have any incidents or accidents. I think it's just, they sort of say, oh well, and move on. So that's my concern.
Yeah, no, I think just widely, I think every ethnic group should be wary and of the government. The Black community, the Asian community. Then we've both got our trust issues with government and how they treat ethnic communities. So I know I'm fully with you on that.
I just wanted to go back to the point you said before in terms of microchips and tracking people. I don't know if you guys remember Bill Gates was blamed for that. He was a face tracking. I know they track us on our phones, but do you feel like eventually in the future they'll track us through our cells or anything else in any other way?
They'll probably offer us a microchip to implant in our brain at some point in the future.
Isn't that what
Elon
Elon is working on? Neuralink, I think.
Yeah. So you'd be able to hack people in the future. So, I don't know. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. It's like I say, with your phone, you're essentially giving all that information out anyway. So if it's in your blood, what's the big difference? We're living in an age now where we're so entrenched in technology, and it revolves around our everyday life so much that we have our own data profile somewhere that's not even accessible to us. So it'll probably be a matter of time, I think, before that does happen. Like, we have some biological tracking done. I don't agree with it, but I think it'll be a matter of time. Probably not, maybe not our lifetime, but maybe about 100 years.
I heard that. Okay, so the last thing I really wanted to touch on today was in regards to aliens. Joe Rogan mentioned that the government will get back to us in the summer, I think this year, about alien life forms and any sort of objects. Do you guys believe that we've been, well, one, do you believe that we have aliens? And two, do you believe that we've been in contact with aliens?
Did you see last year, like in America, they released a series of videos of UFOs, and they said, here's these videos of these things in the sky, and we can't explain what they are. Have you seen those two videos? I think it was released. It was released by the Pentagon were the ones who released this. So if they're released, then you think, oh, there's something quite serious to this. Yeah, so I mean, they say in one of the videos there's like this thing in the sky, and it goes from like 20,000 feet or something in the sky down to the water level in less than a second. That's how fast it was. and they're saying there's nothing on Earth that we have that that has that speed and system. So yeah, it's worth watching those videos. I mean, they released it last year, and nobody really made such a big deal about it. And I thought if the Pentagon releases 3 UFO videos, I thought it would have got a bit more attention. But
Attention.
yeah, people didn't.
I'm pretty like I'm 99.9% sure that there are aliens out there.
Okay.
The universe is so big, so vast that the probability of them not being there, and us guys being the only sentient life forms in the entire universe, just doesn't seem probable to me.
So do you feel like we've been in contact with them?
Maybe we're already in
I don't
contact.
believe that.
Maybe we're just not at the intelligence enough to recognize that we've had the contact with them.
What's wrong with the idea of being the only people or only beings in the universe?
It's equally a scary thought to think that we're existing in a vacuum completely alone. As to, it's like I said, it's equally as scary to think, oh, there's probably like a million different life forms out there. But it's just as scary to think, oh, we are literally, our existence started 3,000-4,000 years ago, however many thousand years ago. So we're finite, we're temporary, we're not. Yeah, we literally do just exist in a vacuum of our own existence. So that's terrifying.
But what if there are alien life, so like plant life or fauna on other planets, but there's no intelligent life? Because we could just be a random mutation.
Yeah.
Isn't replicable. What do you think?
They found non-intelligent life, haven't they?
Have they?
Yeah, in on other planets. I'm sure they found non-intelligent life. They found bacteria and microorganisms on different planets. So there is life out there. I just think they probably looked at us and said, "These guys are just not worth the time. They're so far. They're either so early into their civilization that there's no point contacting them. Because if they're contacting us, what do they have to gain from us? Yeah, it's like because to have the means to contact us means that they're so far there's such far advances in their
technologically advanced.
Yeah, thank you, Amir. That what would they stand to gain from coming to us? Nothing. Unless they wanted a human workforce, that's it. But we've got nothing to offer them. We're blowing our planet half to shreds with our pollution. So, there's not much here on Earth to gain.
Yeah, but isn't there that theory that we don't see anyone because it's just so hard to leave your planet? Because by definition, we are so close to nuclear war, to death, climate change, which will wipe us all out. Isn't it the assumption could be made, if all things are being equal, all laws are the same, to produce energy, you need to burn carbon. Surely the aliens have killed themselves in terms of getting off the planet. Wiped out by a meteorite. Some virus.
I'm not too sure. But did you guys see that thing that came out? I think so a couple of months ago. Some guy, Iran. I think he's some former, some guy who used to work for the Iran security services or something for space. I'm not sure what the exact quote is, but he says there's some sort of a galactic federation, and then like America are in contact with aliens quite like all the time, really. And they say, we speak to aliens, and these aliens apparently said that Earth isn't quite where it needs to be for them to get involved with us yet. Did you guys not hear that story?
No.
That's good, man. My question to you guys then is, if there is a galactic alien civilization, what is the point? Like, you go out into space, you mine some resources, right? You sell it to other people. Like, the way I look at humanity, right? We've created a game of Monopoly, haven't we? We've made a game of life. You have to work or spend some time to get money to buy some stuff to carry on living. Realistically, we could feed and clothe everybody and make sure everyone's happy, but we don't, because we want everyone to play the game. So when you go to space and you deal with other alien civilizations, would you have to play the game as well? You buy credits to buy planets and space and equipment and all that, or because realistically, what do you do other than, I don't know if you guys ever played No Man's Sky. It's just a resource collection game where you go around the universe collecting resources, and everyone hated it because it's basically what life is. You go around collecting resources to do the same thing and just keep doing the same thing. So what would be the point when you get to space? Go around collecting resources.
Just furthering your understanding of how life works, how to make those technological advances, finding alternate means of energy. I mean, if you can travel space, you can probably find a way to, work out time travel, or I don't know. There's some cool shit up there that you can look at. Yeah, but it's if I'm being serious, I think if they're like us, if they do exist, then you can just look back at human history, and we have a history of creating empires, and that's probably what their end game is: to go around, conquer these planets, build an empire. So it sounds very much like Star Wars, but maybe it's just human nature to be conquerors and develop these empires and whatnot. Who knows?
I wouldn't say human nature. I would say European nature, potentially.
Yeah. That would be fair.
I'm going to wrap it up there, guys. I think it was a good one, actually. Bubs came in with that knowledge.
Let me ask you, if you had the chance, what's that, a Virgin... was it Virgin Galactic?
Yeah, Virgin Galactic, yeah.
If you had the chance, it probably costs like an arm and a leg. But if you could, would you?
Go into space.
Back in 2005, it was supposed to be £100,000.
Back in 2005? It's probably what?
That's how much it was supposed to be.
Yeah,
and probably like what? 300,000-400,000?
It was just £100,000 for a trip into space. So you wouldn't go to any other planets. You would just see planet Earth from outside in space.
So
do you think that's worth it?
Are you talking about going to the moon, or are you talking about going to Mars, or just going to space?
Just in space?
Just literally. So just imagine if you're going on holiday. You're literally just on the flight. You get to the airport and then you get back, but you don't land. It's just a U-turn.
The Virgin, what's it called? Galactic.
Yeah.
That one, I think you just go out to the outer atmosphere and kind of hover around there. So I probably wouldn't do that because I have a fear of heights anyway, and just go into the outer atmosphere, probably wouldn't be all that. If it was to go into actual space and like head towards Mars or something, I think I'd definitely do that.
I would be like my approach to the vaccines. I would not be the first person. Let a couple go up there, make jump on the ride. There's no way. Like I think Elon Musk wants to set up a colony on Mars. I would not go. There's no point because
no,
the resources
it's probably not sustainable, and the money and all that involved. And I was going to say,
100 years ago, we just about perfected a ship, water travel.
Yeah.
Now we're here. It's almost like, what do you think is going to happen in the next 100 years? How do you think we're going to be traveling around?
It won't be like cars.
Nah.
But what I'm saying is just a myth. Because it will never work. Imagine the traffic up there, man. It's crazy now. Imagine up there. There'd be no control or anything. You'd just be flying into people all the time.
I said to the guys yesterday, I'd love to have a blimp. Those blimps. I think it would be so sick.
Like an up.
Yeah, it's a silent travels up, and it's quite calm. But yeah, no, I wouldn't go to Mars straight away. I let other people go first. Make sure, because why would I want to go to a desert where there's no oxygen? There's oxygen here. There's people here. There's food here. Why would you leave?
I've never even been to a desert on Earth. Never mind Mars.
You'd go down in history as the first ever human on Mars.
And then you go down in history, the first ever human to die on Mars.
True. But look at what was his name? Lance Armstrong?
Yeah, because the moon is just down there.
Yeah. But still, like people would be talking
down the
about
road,
him.
is it?
Yeah. Just a quick trip down the road. But to be fair to him though, he's going to be in history now. You know, people are going to be talking about him for the next. I don't know. Yeah. So yeah, he was the first human to ever set foot in space.
I'm going to be really pessimistic here. I don't think humanity is going to make it. To be honest, the way we're going, I don't think
we're about to say humanity never made it to the moon. But that's the topic for another day.
No worries, man. Yeah, I think that was a good one, lads. I'm gonna have to bid you adieu.
Yeah. Let's catch you on the next one.